Wait. Before you guys click off this video, you guys are going to understand my point. Just hear me out for a bit. And I also have 2 questions for you guys in the end of the video. So let's just get started, shall we? The first thing that I wanted to say was the TV, for me, started only getting fun when we did the Necomata quest. Maybe that's an unpopular take. I feel like some people do agree with me, but that's what I feel. On that quest, when we started rescuing people and taking them to the train, was the first implementation of the TVs on the story that I actually felt involved, that I felt immersed in it. Starting from there, the TVs got more and more involved in the storytelling. Don't get me wrong, stuff like rally missions and the HSR instance locations would be better to ease immersion, to make everyone like it instead of just a niche audience, because that's for sure. The TVs are for sure a niche thing, while rally missions or HSR instance locations would be easier and more of a general approach for everyone to enjoy. That's for sure. But that being said, if you guys have enough of an imagination or an abstractive ability to picture yourselves in the TVs, to picture you as the bamboo moving in those TVs, like it's a location, just like the enemies, the allies, the traps, and etc. I do feel like the TVs, in that case, if you can put yourself into it, do make a lot of sense and are well designed and illustrated. For example, the blind exploration on chapter 3, if you guys know what I'm talking about, whenever we meet the Victoria housekeeping faction and we go into that kind of spooky storytelling inside that those huge towers, whenever the power outage happens, I don't know how to say that fucking word. It got actually quite fun. The spooky vibe was fun, and I liked exploring without being able to see what was going on. Making all that content in an instance world like HSR would have been 10 times harder. It would have cost a lot more, and it would have taken the devs a lot longer to do it, especially with that infrared mechanic, that we could only see certain stuff with infrared, that we could move freely with the infrared. Adapting that to an instance based location dungeon wise would be a lot harder and cost wise a lot higher. Besides that, there were also side quests where the TVs were great. For example, I think the one that people liked the most, the Pokemon style side quest, which was for me super fun. And kind of off topic, I really wish MiHoyo made a PvP system with those bank boosts on a Pokemon like mode, because bank boosts can't be wailed on. The max you can get by paying is like what, 5 bank boosts on a battle pass or something. So it would kind of be a really fun, fair PvP in the game, and I think everyone would appreciate it to be able to play against your friends into that mode as well, just like we can play it on the Snake or in the other one that I forgot. That's kind of Candy Crush stuff. I always forget the name of that one. But yeah, it would be great to see that one also added inside the game. To be honest, going back to what I said, it's not like all quests are on the TV mode. Don't get me wrong, kinda 99% of main quests are on the TV mode, but there were also some fun stuff on the overworld. For example, there was a puzzle quest on Lumina Square that you have to understand whatever the NPC was talking, and you have to find that place and take a picture of it. That was kind of a fun puzzle. It was simple, sure. It was super easy, sure. But it was something fun, something different. Sometimes I feel like people complaining about the TVs like they're the only game mode in the entirety of the game. Like the game doesn't have combat, doesn't have bank boost to help, doesn't have chests to collect, doesn't have the rally missions and the combat missions, which also don't have the TVs inside it. So I get it. The TVs are super prevalent on the storytelling as well. But there are a lot of content in the game where you don't even have to interact with the TVs. I know there's a huge barrier before you get to them, but they do exist. They are there. After you guys beat the story as well, 90% of interactions, and I'm taking this number really outside of my fucking ass, but again, around, I guess, 90% of interactions after the story are only on Hollow Zero, which are actually the best implementations of the TVs inside the game. They're actually pretty fun. Having the ability to constantly make choices, create your own pathing, be it min-maxing the corruption, so avoiding moving and going only where you need to go to complete it, so you get the less amount of corruption, or doing the 100% route and exploring everything, trying to collect everything, is actually a pretty neat idea, pretty fun stuff. I'm more of a 100% explorator myself, but I know there's a lot of people who just want to min-max that shit to do it faster, and they give you that choice inside the Hollow Zero without any penalty, and that's awesome in my opinion. So now basically I have two questions for you guys. The first one is, whenever you guys are playing the TV mode, especially on the story, do you guys visualize yourself exploring and navigating while on that TV mode? For example, on just like I said at the beginning of the video, like that train scene on Nekomata's story, could you guys feel or visualize that you guys were the ones doing those actions? Like you guys were the ones helping out people, taking them to the train, defeating the bad guys. I mean, defeating the bad guys were in combat, so I'm sure all of you guys felt that. But do you guys get what I mean? Did you guys feel like you guys were there doing that stuff? Or did you guys feel like you guys were watching someone do it, like from an outside perspective, from a third person point of view? Because I do feel like that's more of an imagination and perspective issue rather than a TV implementation issue, to be honest. And to be fair, streamers for sure feel more removed from it since they do have to entertain and talk with chat constantly. So it's normal for them to feel less involved in the context of story, and for sure, the TVs don't make it easier for them, and it's only a thorn in one side in that scenario. So it only makes it worse, right? I think everyone can agree with it. And my second question is, let's say that if you guys still had the TVs later on subsequent patches, but had 3 times the amount of content in the game. And if you guys didn't have the TVs, we would have only a third of that content, but have an exploration, just like, I don't know, HSR or like rally missions, which is an even more condensed version than HSR. Would you guys prefer to have 3 times the content, but having to deal with a bit of TVs? Because let's be honest, on a patch to patch cycle, we won't have as many TVs as the whole 1.1 patch, which was a lot of storytelling. And we all know the story gets drip fed to us throughout the patches, so it won't be like it was before, a huge amount of TVs. It will be just a small amount with a lot of combat dripped between it. So I wonder, do you guys prefer, let's say, 2 to 3 times more content but having to deal with the TVs, or having a more exploratory version, first person kind of experience, but with shorter content? Although most people want to remove the TVs like right fucking now, ASAP, I do think we should at least give the devs 1 to 2 patches so they could try and convince us of their vision. Sure, they should have convinced us already on 1.0. Actually, they should have convinced us on the first chapter of the story, but that clearly didn't happen. Most people didn't enjoy it, and I'm sure some people did drop it because of the TVs, even though now that some time has passed and people started enjoying it, especially on later parts of the story and after the story itself. Why not just give them 1 or 2 patches so they could try and conquer us and convince us again? Because I want to see how much content they can pack in a patch, since the TVs would just make the development time that shorter. So I wonder, we will have 3 times the content, the dialogues, the lore, the exploration, and fights and bosses, just because they are removing a lot of that huge burden of having a 3D space for us to move around. And if they are utilizing those resources to create more interesting bosses, cool mechanics, more characters that have bigger depth in their combat, is it worth it? Is it worth trading the exploration in a 3D world to having characters that have a deeper combat and bosses that are more fun and challenging to fight? Because to be honest, I do. If this is a combat game, I would prefer killing the exploration, the 3D normal exploration that we have on HSR, to have characters that feel a lot more rewarding and bosses that feel a lot more challenging. If there is a combat game, the focus should be the combat. I myself, I don't say everyone have to agree with me, think that changing it from 3D exploration to TVs and having a lot of cool bosses every patch and always some banger characters that everyone wants to play, for me, that's a super fair trade and a trade that I'm willing to do. And again, since in those patches 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, we won't have that huge amount of story just like we had on 1.1, which was a lot to progress through and everyone was rushing it. Because I'm sure the casuals who play this game just a little bit every day, they don't feel the same pressure and the same anger and resentment towards the TV, just like us who rushed the fucking game 20 hours every day felt it whenever they launched. I'm sure of it. So it is a problem more towards us hardcore players than the true majority, which are casual players that play the game 1 to 2 hours tops. And for sure, after you guys finish the story, everyone played the game for less than an hour. But you guys get what I mean. During that rush period when the game released and we had a shitload of stories, we as casual, sorry, as hardcores felt the pressure of the TV a lot more than casuals, especially streamers, because we also had to entertain the chat, talk with them, make fun, and eventually you're just trying to do too many things at one time. You're just spreading your mind way too thin, and you just can't do everything at the same time. You can't reach chat, make jokes, pay attention to the lore, and connect and get immersed on the fucking TVs. It's just way too much. And for sure, the 3D exploration takes that weight out of the streamer and the player itself a lot more. So it does ease it. And I'm not really trying to defend what Hoyo is doing. Both options, in my opinion, are valid. We just have to give more time to see if they can indeed take that opportunity the TVs are giving them on reducing the development time on one side to make the combat itself, the characters and the bosses, that much better, that much satisfying, and that more challenging. That's the real question. And that's gonna take some time. It is what it is. Again, I'm not trying to create an excuse for Hoyo. They're literally a top 10 company in the fucking world. So they have money to do everything that they want and everything that we want them to, and they would still be fucking profitable. So unless they were focusing on a super target niche on their own demographic and an ultra smaller niche that were outside of their community that would enjoy it, which to be honest, I feel like I'm a part of that audience because these AAA gachas I didn't used to play. I played the old ones super shitty. Genshin, I only played 10 hours and I quit it. HSR, I just watch it as an anime whenever the streamers are playing and I just keep up with the story. Wuwa was the first one that I started to play because of the combat. And ZZZ, I started to play because of the combat. That being said, I'm enjoying a lot the way the story is being told. The slice of life aspect of it, I know a lot of people don't like it. There's a bunch of shonen heads over there that just want to be the main characters, want to fight everyone, be the one that defeats the demon lord and save the world. I do feel like that slice of life, retro futuristic aspect of the game is a fresh take, especially in gacha games, and I do feel that is pretty fun. I like it personally. That's a personal thing. If you don't like it, that's fine. Again, I'm not trying to invalidate you guys. But yeah, unless they were super focusing on that niche demographic, either inside their own existing player base and the niche people outside their player base that would be able to handle the TVs to be able to get into the combat. If that wasn't their focus, if that wasn't their idea, their target, then I agree 100% that the TVs were a waste of time, a waste of development cost, and a mistake inside the storytelling, and it should have been replaced with instant zones and or rally mission style stuff, especially in the storytelling, because I do feel like from watching a bunch of people play it, I've watched a whole lot of streamers to get their opinions. They just can't get immersed with when the story is being told on the TVs. When there's normal dialogue happening, voiced dialogue, to be honest, animations, or the comic stuff, manga, manhwa, webtoon, whatever is going on, everyone, even the streamers, stop making the fun, the jokes, and reading chat to pay attention to it. So it is obvious that cutscenes, dialogues, comic books are factually more of an immersive experience than the TVs. I'm not arguing that. That's 100% sure. If it can get someone with such an ADHD, brain rotted brain as a streamer to pay attention to it, it proves that the cutscenes, animations, dialogues, and comic books are a better storytelling device than the TVs. 100%. So maybe the problem people have is only using it as a storytelling device, just kind of like Gacha Smack did said, for example. Because again, I don't see anyone complaining about the TVs on Hollow Zero. I don't see it on streams. I don't see the streamer. I don't see the chat. I don't see it on Twitter. I don't see it on Reddit. I see them complaining about it on the story for sure, but I don't see people complaining it as an exploring device on the roguelike mode, which is Hollow Zero. Maybe it is a Zoomer TikTok brain and a streamer brain rot kind of thing. I don't know. I just genuinely and neutrally want to hear your guys' opinion on it. So please leave a comment, you guys, answering both my questions and your guys' opinion on the whole topic. I would really appreciate it. And if you guys enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to my channel, follow me on my Twitch, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.